This is the most hated address in the history of American energy. Londonderry Township, Pennsylvania, the site of the 3 Mile Island Nuclear Generating Station. In 1979, Unit 2 suffered a partial meltdown. It was the worst nuclear accident in U.S. history. It terrified a generation. It froze the entire industry. For decades, this place has stood as a concrete monument to failure. But now, something impossible is happening. Microsoft, the world's most valuable company, just signed a check to bring it back from the dead. You heard that right. Microsoft isn't building a solar farm. They aren't building wind turbines. They're paying billions to restart the one nuclear plant that everyone else was too scared to touch. Why? Because they're desperate. The AI revolution has hit a physical wall, and it's not computing power, it's electricity. Welcome to the master plan. Today, we're looking at the $1.6 billion gamble to resurrect a nuclear zombie. Let's look at the math, because the numbers are terrifying. A standard Google search uses about 0.3 watt-hours of electricity. It's nothing. You could run it on a potato battery. But a ChatGPT query, that burns 10 times as much. Now multiply that by billions of queries a day. Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are currently building data centers so large they don't just plug into the grid, they break the grid. We're talking about gigawatt-scale campuses. To put that in perspective, 1 gigawatt powers about 750,000 homes, or one really smart AI training cluster. Here's the problem. Tech giants love to talk about net zero. They love wind and solar. But AI servers have a dirty little secret. They need to run 24/7. They don't sleep. They don't care if the sun isn't shining. They don't care if the wind isn't blowing. If the power cuts for even a millisecond, the training model crashes. Millions of dollars gone. They need baseload power, reliable, constant, heavy. Coal is dirty. Gas is volatile. Batteries are too expensive at this scale. That leaves only one option. The option we spent 40 years trying to kill. Enter the Crane Clean Energy Center. That's the rebrand. They're trying to scrub the 3 Mile Island name off the map. But physically, it's the same beast. Now, before you panic, here's a crucial detail. The reactor that melted down in 1979 was Unit 2. That one is encased in concrete forever, a tomb. We're talking about Unit 1. It sits right next door. It operated safely for 45 years until it was shut down in 2019. Not because it was dangerous, but because cheap natural gas made it unprofitable. So how do you restart a nuclear reactor that's been sitting cold for 5 years? You don't just flip a switch. Engineers have to inspect thousands of miles of piping. They have to use ultrasound to check the reactor vessel for micro cracks, effectively invisible to the human eye. The main transformer needs to be replaced. The turbine blades need to be refurbished, and they need to hire 600 highly specialized workers to walk into a plant that literally shares a wall with a nuclear disaster site. But the biggest hurdle isn't engineering, it's the NRC, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Their inspections are brutal. If they find a single corroded valve, the timeline slips. If the timeline slips, Microsoft loses money, a lot of it. So let's talk about the deal. This is Titan Economics in action. Constellation Energy, the owner of the plant, signed a 20-year power purchase agreement, or PPA, with Microsoft. This is the largest deal of its kind in history. Microsoft is buying 100% of the output, all 837 megawatts. They're paying a massive premium above market rates. Why? Because in the world of trillion-dollar tech wars, the cost of electricity is irrelevant. The availability of electricity is everything. If Google runs out of power in Virginia, they can't deploy their new model. If Microsoft secures the 3 Mile Island grid connection, they win. This isn't about saving the planet, it's an arms race. Microsoft is effectively buying a private nuclear plant to fuel its brain. And the market knows it. Look at uranium prices. Look at Constellation stock. It jumped 22% the day the announcement was made. Wall Street has realized that AI is actually a commodities trade. Data needs rocks, radioactive rocks. This restart is scheduled for 2028. If they pull it off, it changes the game. It opens the door to restarting other zombie plants across America. It validates the idea that nuclear is the only way forward for big tech. But the irony is suffocating. In the 20th century, 3 Mile Island represented our greatest fear, technology out of control. In the 21st century, it represents our only hope, keeping our new technology, artificial intelligence, alive. Microsoft is betting $1.6 billion that the ghosts of 1979 stay buried. For the sake of the grid, let's hope they're right. If you think this is risky, wait until you see what China is building in the Gobi Desert. Click here to watch our breakdown of the molten salt reactors that might just put American nuclear tech to shame. I'll see you in there.